Okay, we're up and running. So welcome into Tier 2, Round 7 of Season 19 with ALR. Here at a very wet Spa. It's going to be a very interesting race. Let me mute that. Live chat. There we go. Okay, so very wet. So basically, if anyone is new to ALR who's just hopping in, we have basically set custom wet weather. All the tiers had the same weather. It is extremely wet, like between Aero 5 and Aero 8. All the weather slots are going to be somewhere between that. So this might probably be the only time you ever actually want to use wet weather tyres. We'll have a look through as we go through the grid who is starting on what tyres. We had a couple in Tier 1 gamble on intermediates. Did kind of pay off towards the end of the race, but it didn't work out overall because I think they probably could have qualified better if they'd done wets for that and the start of the race. Hey, you get to watch your own comms. Nice. Evening, Jill. Hope you have an enjoyable flight watching whatever chaos happened. So, let's go through the grid. So we got Astro back on pole. Must potentially timed it really well in qualifying because being last over the line was a big advantage, but if I remember right, they had a big advantage, like a second almost ahead in qualifying in the Audi. So that's got to be his best qualifying since, I think he put it on pole in Suzuka. So really good qualifying from Astro. Then we've got Scotty in second, another good qualifying. He's been sort of, I can't remember if he's been in the middle much. He tends to be sort of at the back or at the front, but he's up in second now. X9G actually putting in a good qualifying performance in third, which is big, for he is the championship leader. So great qualifying there from X9G. We've seen him come from the back in multiple sprint races, so being in third is a great start. Asseldor in fourth, kind of been used to him being there. That's pretty much where he's been. Second, third, fourth. I don't think he's had a pole yet, but good qualifying in the Beetle in fourth. Then we've got Higgsy in fifth in the second M6. So M6 liking these conditions. Another good qualifying from Higgsy. We've got Jack in sixth. The race required everyone to continue fighting against the track more than the other drivers. You certainly were. You certainly were. That is, I mean, some people like it. I kind of got used to it. The problem is you never drive in the wet is the thing. Like I've spent so little time driving in the wet in this game that I don't understand it properly. And it depends a lot on the car as well. Definitely does. So let's see, we've got a lot of MR cars in the top. The M6s and then Asseldor. It's pretty even split, to be honest. And we've got Jackie in sixth in the Ferrari, which is kind of renowned for being the best car in the wet. And it's great off the line, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes progress in the wet starts. Pyro up in seventh, which is a great qualifying from Pyro. We've seen him pretty much occupying the last two spots for most of it, up in seventh. Obviously likes the wet. I think the McLaren should be good in the wet as well, so maybe he can get a good result. Probably is going to get his best result of the season if he can match his pace he did in qualifying. Harry down in eighth. Currently second in the championship. Going to be a little disappointed with that. 5 places behind X9G. Would have been hoping for better. Marty in the Mazda. I think if it was dry, I'd be confident saying that the Mazda would be good around here. In the wet, I'm not sure. It's pretty good on traction. Pretty good on starts as well. Then we've got Ross down in 10th in the GTR. Another car that should be, I would imagine, okay in the wet. It's got pretty good traction. You can short shift a lot. Not sure how much that actually helps in the wet conditions, but it should make it a little bit easier. Prime Call in 11th in the AMG. Slightly better than last time out, I think. Trying to remember back. Not sure. Whack down in 12th is a bit of a surprise because he was racing with the Tier 1 drivers in all the practice races. So I'm expecting him to move his way forward from there. Because I don't think he's been out-qualified by his teammate too much either, and Pyro's up in 7th, so I would expect Wack to be able to make some progress from there. Shield down in 13th. Thought he was getting to grips with it, maybe just didn't like the wet conditions. Possibly messed up the qualifying timing. Because if you were first over the line, you didn't really get any benefit from it drying out. Then we've got Henners in, that is the 2016 AMG, I believe. Pretty good on the straights. Pretty good traction. Both the AMGs do. It's going to be his first race with us this season in Tier 2. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Then we've got Tin in 15th. Quite surprised to see him down there. Maybe again, struggling in qualifying, didn't get the best of the conditions. Could be many things. Then we've got Fossey in the second Audi R8. So the Audis are bookending the grid. So Fossey maybe not getting on with these conditions because he seems to be getting a grip of the car pretty well. He had a win at Daytona where he looked completely dominant, especially in the sprint race. So maybe he can make his way forward from there. Let's see. Let's go have a quick look through. Anybody on intermediates? No. Everybody going for the wet tyres, unsurprisingly. So let's get this race underway. We've got 5 red lights. And they're off and away we go. And we're going to keep an eye on Jack in the background in the Ferrari. That's a couple of positions made up already into 6th. And he's going around the outside of everybody. Yeah, everybody taking it nice and cautious through there. Any shenanigans we need to keep an eye out for. Ooh, somebody getting a little bit of a tag, nothing major. They're quite hard to control in the slow speed stuff. Harry's actually up to 5th as well, so Harry's made a good start in the Ferrari, which you would expect his teammate did the same. That is crucial because he's only a couple of places behind X9G's title rival as Scotty goes wide, and that might be a penalty. Penalties can be quite harsh. Yeah, half a second. It's probably going to cost you slightly less in the wet than it would in the dry, but it's still going to cost him multiple positions, I think, by the end. As Harry dives to the inside, looks like that's a good move. Oh no, never mind. Scott managed to hold it around the outside. Thought Harry was going to stick it out and hold on to that position. Pyro up to 6th. This is a great start from Pyro. Only gained 1 position, but that is probably the best position he's running, certainly in a sprint race, I think. Asseldor down to 7th, so he did not get off the line particularly well. Oh, just maybe got bullied a little bit in there. Whoa, hold on. Jackie's in the lead. What the heck happened? So he's up to 2nd. So right, we saw him go around the outside of everyone. Just gets a better exit. And weirdly, that sausage curb on the exit actually gives you basically the same grip as the track, which is a little bit strange. But I did notice that during the race. So it looks like he nails that corner. Definitely closed into Astro there. Astro's going to go defensive. Yeah, covering off the inside. Going to send Jack to the outside. He's going to brake and go all the way around the outside of him. It looks like it. Jack just way more confident on the brakes. Nice, gets himself up into P1. So a great start. He's up from 6th into 1st by the Nouvelle chicane. Let's go forward a little bit because this is roughly where we were. And it is quite difficult to build a gap unless you've got some battling going on behind, because the water gets kicked up and the spray, and it actually makes the conditions slightly better for the cars behind. And when it starts drying out, the cars behind get a drier bit of track to drive on than you in the wet part, if it makes sense. So you can get caught up to quite quickly. But Jackie's starting to build a little bit of a gap. He definitely looks confident in these conditions. He was doing well in the practice races, so that's not particularly surprising. We've got Scotty managed to get past X9G up into 3rd. He's going to lose that position. Pretty sure he's going to lose that position with the half-second penalty. Serving that now, yeah, that's X9G going to get through. It might only cost him the 1 position, though. Yeah, it does not look like Harry's close enough to get that move done, or even look at going for a move. Everybody's spreading out at the front. Pyro still on to 6th, head of Astor. Higgsy down a couple of positions. Wack already up 3 into 9th. That's a good start from Wack. Then we've got Marty in 10th. I think he's down 1 position. Going nice and late on the brakes. Got some battles going on. We've got Giles going side by side with Tin. And Tin does hold on to that position. We've got Prime called Ross just outside the top 10 in 11th. Was Higgsy going for a move? I think that was Scotty going for a move. So Scotty's actually lost the position to Harry. Don't think that was into turn 1. I think he'd already lost it. Ooh, he made a mistake. I think he outbrakes himself at the final chicane. And then he's going side by side with Pyro. Just has a little bit of a slide on the exit, and that's going to give Scotty enough to get down the inside and fully ahead. Ooh, and that cost Pyro a lot of time, that slide. Cost him a lot of time. Put him under pressure from Assador. Ooh, sliding again. That might be a penalty for going wide, or it could end up worse than that. Probably going to be a penalty for that. That might be a penalty. Really? Assador got a penalty? Okay, Pyro did get a penalty, but Assador somehow got a bigger penalty. Sure, okay game. Like to see someone try and explain that. We've got Harry just about holding on in front of Scotty. Scotty looks like he's got the pace. Just that one mistake and that penalty is costing him, putting him behind Harry, as the top three are starting to break away. And this is what I mean, this battling. As Assador sends it down the inside. Managed to get past Pyro, but can't quite get past Scotty. You can see they're all taking varying lines. Harry seems more confident pushing it onto the curbs a little bit. Ferrari's quite planted on traction, so that does make sense. M6, not so much, but you can short shift to help that. Ooh, Harry's drifting it round the corner. It's risky. It can be quite fast, but it is risky. As Pyro tries to get the move back on Assador, but can't quite get there. Now he's got his teammate behind. They don't really need to be fighting because the two cars in front of Wack have both got penalties. I don't expect him to gain both of these positions. Yeah, like we said, we're not really surprised Wack's making his way forward. He's probably going to be up to 6th after these two penalties. Yeah, and maybe Pyro's going to get past Assador. He is going to get past Assador with the extra half-second less of a penalty. Higgs is going to go around the outside. Ross and Pyro thought they might be trying to go side-by-side through Blanchimont. He's risky in the dry. It is extremely risky in the wet. As we've got a bit of a traffic jam. Ross going super late on the brakes. I think it was Tin or Marty potentially sending it down the inside. It might have been Tin. He looks like he's gained a few positions. But everybody gets through cleanly. Still going side by side. Let's go on board on the bonnet cam. See what we can see. Ooh, having to stay wide. Ooh, Marty's sending it to the inside of Assador. Might need to back out of that potentially. And in this drag race, Marty should be the one winning. But Assador does have the inside in the air. Marty looks like he's just backed out. Doesn't want to go side by side through a Rouge. This smart decision. And Tin, he's not coming under pressure from behind. Ooh, but Shields is having a go on Henners. Maybe Henners not getting the best run out of Eau Rouge, and Shields looks like he's got that move completely done. Yeah, he is up into 14th. And does he make it down to the apex? He does make it down to the apex nicely. So let's go and have a check-in with the leader. Jack's starting to build a little bit of a gap. Ooh, Astro's a half-second penalty. That's going to surely allow X9G through if he can stay close. Taking very different lines through there. But these three have definitely gapped the rest of the field. Harry in 4th. Got a little bit of proving over Scotty, but we've seen Scotty close the gap. Ooh, and Wack with a 1-second penalty. Does have a gap behind, but that's probably not going to be enough. Go and join this pack behind, because it looks like this is where the battling is happening. We've got Ross battling it with Pyro. Two of our admins having a fight, which they haven't done much this season, I don't think. I don't think Ross has been near Pyro that often. Even in some of the races that Ross has struggled, he's managed to get sort of fight his way into the top 10 a few times, get some good feature results. But he has lost a lot of time there in that corner. Pyro getting pretty much onto the back of Higgsy. Primecall was maybe thinking about having a look at Ross there. It was that Primecall with the air. Primecall just picked up a half-second penalty. Ooh, and then Harry's got half-second. Wack's got 1 second. Scotty's going to get up into 4th, which is big for his race because that's going to give him some free air. And we've seen how quick he is, so maybe he can have a go at catching the leaders. Then we've got Wack down to 8th. Higgsy and Pyro go through. Is anybody else going to go through? No, Wack stabilises there. Harry stabilises in 5th and actually really close to Scotty. Scotty defends the inside. Harry trying to go super late on the brakes, but there's not going to be enough an overlap to hold the inside for the second part of the chicane. But Higgs has just picked himself up a 1-second penalty, fighting with the McLarens. The McLaren getting excellent traction out of the last corner. Are they going to make it 3 wide? No, I think White just playing it sensibly. Ooh, Higgsy super late on the brakes. Might cost him on the cutback. Potentially to both McLarens. Oh, there's some contact there. Ooh, let's have a look at that again. So we know Scotty's going to go super deep on the brakes. Forces Pyro to delay the turn-in, but he gets undercut ever so slightly. Ooh, let's have one more look at that. Go on board with Pyro if we can get there. Nice message to Ross, which we might actually be seeing for the first time on the back of Pyro's car. He actually gets a tag from his teammate. I mean, he's just going straight. I mean, there's nothing... It's cost Pyro a lot, though, unfortunately. It cost Higgsy a lot as well, but that's just a racing incident. They're both going straight. Higgsy probably got slightly sideways on the curb. Maybe slid slightly across Pyro, and then there's not really anything you can do there, especially in these kind of conditions. So easy once you start going sideways to just snap and be completely sideways. Higgsy, I think, is the car that is just off the back of the pack. We'll have to have a little bit of a check after we see how this battle has gone. Hasseldog goes wide. Oh, and Paramco makes a little bit of a mistake, having a slide of his own in the background. That's going to cost him a lot of positions. Wax managed to get himself into 6th. I guess a nudge from Hasseldor there. So I imagine he's going to let Wack have this position, yeah, and he does. So let's see Wack using a lot of the track there, going out onto the AstroTurf even. The McLaren is planted. I've only driven it in the wet once, but it was very planted, so maybe the McLaren can handle that. Does seem a bit risky though. Depends how confident you are, but he is starting to drive away now, which is kind of what we expected, or what I expected, based on the practice races. Harry's managed to get himself back into 4th. And Jack is actually pulling away. This is great pace from Jack. You can see how wet it is on the gauge. It's going over 2/3, 35.9, and he's half a second up. That is a quick time. That is a really quick time. Left these guys for dust. Astro's hanging on to XNIG in the fight for 2nd and 3rd. And I think this is going to become a 3-way fight for P4 when Wack does look like he's going to be able to get there. So we've got Scotty sat in the slipstream. Gets a decent run through Blanchimont. Not going to go for the move. Harry goes defensive though. Doesn't have any problems though. Gets to the inside of both of the cars. Slide on the exit. But like I said, the Ferrari can put his power down really well, so he's probably not going to come under threat into turn 1. He's got his best opportunity, might be the end of the straight before the Nouvelle chicane. Both going super wide. White going tighter along the inside. We've got a nice battle brewing up behind them as well. We're going to stick with these two. Scotty might be a little bit too close into through Eau Rouge, because he needs to get the run. The Ferrari isn't great on the straights, but you're actually going slower because it's wet, so it's not quite as bad as it would be normally. Scotty's definitely tucked in the slipstream. He's definitely getting a run and a chance at going for the move, but if he's going to do it, he's going to have to go around the outside. Chooses not to. Sells back in behind, and Wack is now onto the back of this group, making it a 3-way fight. Ross is up to 7th. So I'm saying he's come from 10th, profited from a few little mistakes. Had a few incidents. Although we haven't seen anything major. I'm not sure how many the reports there actually were from this tier. I'll have to have a check at the end of the feature race. But I haven't seen anything that was blatantly a report-worthy incident. Oh, and Wax actually made his way through. How does he manage that? Oh, Harry's gone super wide there. Got some to the curb on the exit of that corner, then down to the sort of hairpin. Gets forced out a little bit wide, ends up off the track, and Wack just goes through on the inside. Yeah, easy move there for Wack. Go forward, this is where we were roughly. So, whack now right onto the back of Scotty, and you can see how much more confidence he has to get on the throttle, just out of poo on there. Or is he going to go around, try and go around the outside? No, he's not. Backs out, but probably a smart decision. It definitely looks like he's got the pace. With only a couple of laps to go, he's probably going to struggle to make any more progress than 4th. But from 12th on the grid, he'll be perfectly happy with that, I think. And Wack's actually going purple. So, slide, that's risky. And now Parry's slightly alongside, and he's going to be getting the slipstream from Scotty. Although they're both getting little bits of it, and Wack's got the inside for Blanchamon. As, ooh, Harry, super aggressive right there. Wow, what nice move. Did he keep it within track limits? That looks super close to keeping it in track limits. Looks like he's okay. I would have watched that again. Oh, back one more. Let's go on board, like, wheel cam. Oh, this one, so we can actually see a little bit. On the outside, leaves space, makes it around. Actually was quite comfortably inside track limits. Great move there from Harry. Great move to hold it around the outside. Can he hold it through the chicane as well? Got Wack on his outside. Ooh, not quite. Such a shame that didn't work out. That was such a good move. But he does unfortunately still lose out on that position. But is he going to go to the inside? He is. Ugh, that looked close to Scotty. Luckily doesn't quite make any contact. What's going to be on the outside? Does he get a better exit? Doesn't look like he had to pull back in. So Ferrari getting even better traction than the McLaren. This is where the Ferrari could struggle a bit, going over the curbs through there. It's not too bad when it's dry and you're on fresh tyres, but when it's so slippery, it is tricky. Harry's having to go defensive. Ross has joined this little battle now. As Wax sends it around the outside of Parry. Anything you can do, I can do better. Just outbreaks him on the outside. On the dry line now, because it is starting to dry. Keep an eye on the bottom left. Yeah, bottom left. God, I'm losing my mind. Bottom left, the water gauge. It's getting down towards a third now. That's almost slick conditions when it's in a third. Or when it's at least close to it. Because these, obviously, you want to be on intermediates if you could. But nobody's going to be pitting because the pit lane is just way too long and the race is way too short. But we've got Jack, half-second penalty. He's got a big enough lead. They should be able to tank that pretty easily. As long as he doesn't make a mistake. And we haven't really seen him make one so far. This has been a great race from Jack. Absolutely driven away at the front of the field. Ooh, Astro's got another half a second. That might not cost him the position, but it's gonna definitely drop him into the clutches of Scotty. Gonna have a chance at a podium on the final lap. Yeah, you can see everyone going purple now because the track conditions are that much better. Ross has managed to make his way through on Harry as well. So this is not good for Harry's championship with XNIG up in second. And he's losing even more time. He's going to lose that position to Assador trying to go around the outside. Managing to go side by side through there again without contact. I think Harry looked later on the breakthrough. That was Tin going deep. Managed to keep it on track though. That is crucial because if you go off track there, sometimes it can reset you. Which would have cost him a lot of time, a lot of positions. But he's up into 9th from 15th, so this is a good race from Tin to get himself in the reverse grid positions. We've got Marcia in 10th. That's pretty much where he started, maybe one position down. Fossey's up into 11th. Looks like he's going to be the first one, or at the moment he's the first one to miss out. And we've got Prime Call Gilles. Did Gilles have an issue? Did we see Gilles' problem? I don't think so. But we've seen Pyro had his problem, we've seen Higgsy have his problem with Pyro, then we've got Henners in 16th, just off the back of these guys. Ooh, Jack. Don't think he'll get a penalty for that, it was just about okay. Needs to be careful with the sliding though. XNAG is probably going to have the same problem, and here is the battle for P3. We've got Scotty close to the back of Astro. The only real major overtaking spot left without a mistake or some kind of experimental line is probably going to be the last chicane. You can see if Scotty can get creative and make a move in this section. Ooh, after having a little bit of a snap on the brakes. Scotty does get a good run. And he looks like he was thinking about it. This is the corner where the M6 should be particularly good. Looks like he just goes a little bit too wide though. The dirty air does still affect them in these conditions when they're going slower. And Wax just off the back of these two. Really needs them to be battling more than they are if he wants to get this position. Ooh, Scotty going wide. Scotty does have the fastest lap at the moment as well. Could very easily get beaten on this lap, but Astro gets a great run out of that corner. Scotty's not close enough to attack, and actually could potentially come under threat from Whack. Is he close enough? Look like he carried good speed. Is he close enough to send it into the chicane? Ooh, he certainly closed up a lot. Definitely looked like he closed up. He's going to need a monster exit to get this move done. It doesn't look like he's going to do it. So we've got Jack, who crossed the line in first with a really dominant sprint win from 6th on the grid, believe it or not. X&AG up in second, great sprint race from him. Astro in third, ran at the podium positions. Then Scotty just ahead of Whack. Ross gets up to 6th in the end of Vasildor. Let's just pause it because people are coming over the line so we don't lose any of the positions. Got Vasildor in 7th. Harry down to 8th in the end, so that is not great for his championship, but he is going to have a better starting position in the feature race. So maybe with some clean air, he'll find it easy. Well, it'll still be a couple of positions out of free air, but if he can make his way forward quickly, maybe that'll help him make some progress. Ooh, Marty up to 9th, Tin down to 11th on the last lap, and Giles somehow up to 10th. How did Giles manage that? Well, I want to go and have a look at that, because he was 14th at the start of the lap. We've got Tin in 11th, Higgsy in 12th, Fossey, Primecall, and Pyro somehow ending up down in 15th, which is a shame, because his pace looks a lot better than that. Then we've got Henners bringing up the rear. So let's... Giles, how? Okay, he was 13th across the line, but he was having a battle for 14th with Pyro on his inside. So Giles goes around the outside, uses that little sausage curve to get some nice grip and a good exit. Still got a bit of space to go to get to the cars in front. Well, that Pyro may be getting a penalty for that. Might have just cut the corner. Yeah, 1 second penalty. Giles does not get one, and he's super close to on the back of Primecall. Looks like he fakes for a move. Okay, Primecall was too late on the brakes and hits Fossey off track, which cost him the position to Giles as well. So that's Giles up into 11th now. Oh, and Fossey gets a 1 second penalty for that as well. Lovely. Is that Primecall with the penalty? Oh no, it's Pyro with the penalty. So Primecall's actually dropped back a few positions from that. So Giles up into 11th. He's not far away from the cars in front. But still, how does he get this move done into 10th? Closes up. Okay, he's closing up through this section. Maybe he's just a lot more confident with a bit more grippier conditions. I know I was. WRX felt miles better when it started drying out a little bit compared to when it was full wet. And he is going purple at the moment. Don't know if he's going to get the purple lap, even with the slipstream here, because he's going to have to battle with somebody. Or unless somebody's got a penalty. Marty, maybe? No, because Marty holds on to 9th, so how does Giles get this move done? Gets a really good run through Blanchimont. Up to the final chicane, sends it to the outside. Slater on the brakes, he's going to hold it all the way around the outside. Yeah, nice move, leaves some space on the exit. Or does he? Let's have a look. He certainly used a lot of the track. Yeah, that's certainly one way to make a move. That is cost Tin a lot, because he's just outside the reverse grid positions as well. I feel like that could get reported. And yeah, we got so Higgsy in 12th, so he managed to recover it up to 12th, so it does get him a few positions on the starting grid. Would have been hoping for better after qualifying 5th. Primecall after that last incident, yeah, oh dear, oh dear. Pyro in 15th, and then Henner's round us out in 16th. So let's go and grab the feature race. I'm curious to see how Gilles does from the front now, because he would have been 11th without that move into the final chicane. So yeah, strategies for the feature race. The few that I've seen are hyper economy fuel saving to go to around lap 16, I think it's an 18 lap race. We'll see when we load it up. I'm pretty sure it is an 18 lap race. Let's get the information on. Yes, it is. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, I was going to say, you could definitely report that if you wanted to. But yeah, 18 laps. So, hyper economy fuel saving to around 16 if you're going super aggressive and trying to go softs, because it should dry up enough for softs at the end of the race. It's just a question of whether your fuel can go that long. We're looking at maybe the GTRs. No, I mean, fair. True. It gains you nothing, really. It depends how close you were in... Well, it gets you a point, probably, in the sprint race. But that is it. But yeah, hyper fuel saving, we're looking at the GTRs. Mazda, maybe. You can short shift in it, but it's not great on the fuel. McLarens, with some short shifting, they can save a lot of fuel. BMW's probably not. Audi's probably not. Lambo's probably not. I think that's pretty much everyone. AMG's, again, probably not. It's not great on the fuel. Same with the 16. Although it's more of a killer for tyres than fuel. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is to go not quite as extreme. Probably just drive normal 100% until you get on to lap 13, 14. And maybe go for intermediates. So you have sort of the best of both worlds. You're on the wet tyres on intermediates while it's wet conditions for a little bit. But you do gain the advantage of having better tyres suited to the conditions at the end of the race. And before I get distracted, let's talk about this diabolical starting position for everybody. Gilles is just gone, as is Marty, Harry, and Asseldor to a degree. I think 5th place is the first one that gets dumped on the exit of the chicane. And then we've got half the field who haven't even made it to the chicane yet. Wonderful, wonderful starting position for everyone. Lovely stuff. Gilles going to have a completely comfortable lead. Let's see, stick with the people coming out of the chicane. Is anybody going to bin it before we get to the line? Looking at Pyro, he is safe. And we got Hennis through as well. So everybody is through. The front of the grid in particular is very spread out. Pyro going for this move on Prime Call. Ooh, takes advantage, has a little bit of a snap, but he's fine through there. So where is the big gap? Between Asseldor? Yeah, between Asseldor and Ross. Asseldor was the first one who didn't get screwed over by the starting position. And yeah, that's just a crazy field spread already. Like, they're already covering the back straight. Or the main straight. Yeah, the back straight. Is it the back straight? I'm not even sure if you call that the back straight, because the other back straight's sort of around Blanchemont area. But yeah, covering that whole straight already, after 3 corners essentially, is crazy. So Harry's going super aggressive on Marty there. Let's go have a look at that. Tries to go around the outside. Managed to sort of get a switch back. To the inside, gets squeezed. Has to go for the gap. I mean, honestly, that seems fair enough. He was getting squeezed. The contact was more from being squeezed than actually forcing his way through, because he didn't go wide. But he doesn't get the position anyway, so Mize holds on to P2. But yeah, just talking about one final thing on the strategy, there's one other option, which is where we should be getting a really strong rain shower somewhere in the middle of the race. So if you can time the pit stop so that you come out on fresh, wet tyres just before then, you can potentially gain a lot compared to drivers on older, wet tyres. Although they don't particularly go off much, it can give you a slight advantage. And a lot of it, to a degree, is going to be finding yourself in clean air is the crucial thing, because if you're stuck in traffic, you might want to pit just as early as possible. Ooh, Harry getting out on the AstroTurf, that's surely going to cost him a position. Cost him a lot of time, and Astrodor is alongside and he's ahead. So we've seen Harry make a couple of mistakes before, and that's another one that looks like he's potentially cost him. Ooh, and he's really having trouble with the rear of that Ferrari. Sliding absolutely everywhere. Ross still holding on to 5th. And the gap's pretty much stabilised, kind of what you'd expect. Ross has essentially got clean air at the moment, but he makes a small mistake. Ooh, and he's getting forced a little bit wide. But that's sort of all fair at the end of the day, because you would normally force someone out that wide in the dry conditions. It's just these conditions, when you get out there is less than no grip. Ooh, we've got Astro making up a few positions. X9G into 8th, Wack into 9th with a half-second penalty. Astro looks like he's trying to go around Ross. Get everybody files in. Nobody trying to go side by side through here. Jack looks like he's in 10th. Ooh, but that's surely that's going to be a penalty. Did he get out with the throttle? I still think that's going to be a penalty for Astro there. No, he got out of it enough. The first of many then, I guess. Half-second penalty. Goes a little bit wide. Jack also going a little bit wide. Makes small amount of contact with X9G, but is kind of sort of nothing contact. But yeah, half-second penalty, one of many apparently. So it's a bit of a shame, because the pace he showed in practice, I would have put money on him just getting a double win and cruising this one. Although Jack did surprise me with how dominant he was in the sprint. Like, he was good in the sprint, in the practice races, but he just dominated that sprint race. And we've got Harry and Astrodor trying to go side by side. Looks like Harry trying to get that move back. Ooh, and a slide from Astrodor. But Harry's kind of too close to really take advantage. He was stuck behind him, couldn't go anywhere. And this allows Scotty to get onto the back of those two in the fight for the podium. Ross still holding on to 6th, but he does not have the pace of Scotty, and you can tell by the way he's driving away. Whack. Don't think he's actually looking for the move. Just trying to get a bit of an eye line to probably the first boot box qualifying. Yeah. It is hard. And the McLaren's not great off the line, so there's no easy positions to gain either. And he's all the way back down to 9th. Does stay ahead of Astro, even though Astro didn't have a penalty. And Jack we should be keeping an eye on, because if he can make progress past Ross, get some clean air, he can definitely close up to the front group. Oh, we've had somebody's way off at the back. Let's see, oh! I think Jack tried to go for the move and then he's trying to back out of it, and X9G's getting caught up behind both of them. Jack going to the outside. Honestly, a smart decision. Then just maybe drop him behind Ross. Yeah, then he might look like X9G got a good exit though. Side by side. Yeah, they are side by side. X9G got a great exit. Are they going to go side by side through here? Jack backs out of it. X9G tries. Does he keep it on track? Jack definitely doesn't. Half second for X9G. And half a second for Jack as well. And that's going to like whack up into 7th, taking advantage of that. Astro's going to follow him through. Was it half second? Yeah, it was a half second. I thought it was just one for Jack then. But no, they both get half second penalty. Ooh, and Tim going for a late dive to the inside of the chicane. Doesn't get it done though. Ooh, big slide from X9G. Tin definitely interested again in going for the move. Whoa, that was a launch from Higgsy there. I think he trying to stay wide and give it that position back. Just way too deep from Higgsy. Fortunately cost Tin a position, Pyro up into 11th. So still got a chance at a good result in the feature race. Bit unlucky in the sprint race. But he's made progress from 15th, made up 4 positions. So who are the drivers that have made mistakes? So we've got Prime Call, who's made a mistake, or been involved in an incident. Henners as well, dropped a bit off the back of the pack. And then 14th to 1st are basically exactly where they were. Gilles still got a comfortable lead over Marty. Astor Scotty has now got ahead of Harry. These two were battling all of the sprint race as well. But unfortunately, Harry's just not been able to make progress from starting. I think he could have started 3rd. And he's unfortunately dropped back a couple of positions. So he's basically exactly the same position he was in the sprint race, where he sort of struggled and then dropped back with some small mistakes. And we've got Ross Wack in 7th, Astro ahead of Pyro, is now up to 9th thanks to those penalties. Does have the fastest lap as well, 34.9. And it's still very wet. It's not in over 2/3, but it is still very wet. 100% you still want to be on wet tyres at this moment. Intermediates can manage though, they're fairly even. Any less than this, intermediate's probably the faster tyre. Although wet's definitely the safer tyre. And X9G's actually got overtaken by Tin as well, and looks like he's getting dived by Higgsy. Nice move though from Higgsy, but he looks like he's going to get a switch back. Ooh, possibly having a snap. Yeah, does get that move back up into 12th front of Higgsy. Jack looks like he's having a go at Pyro again. I think he's learned his lesson this time. Doesn't want to go side by side through Eau Rouge. Radion. Ooh, both wide. And Primeco actually getting the fastest lap as well. 34.6. So the conditions aren't that bad right now. It's not going dark blue on the water gauge, so no one's aquaplaning at the moment unless you go off the racing line. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. I think that's just the Ferrari getting such good rotation, carry more speed through it. McLaren not quite as good. Ooh, looks like Jack's going to be able to get this move done. Gets to the inside. Gets the car stopped just about. Pyro cuts back to the inside though. Outside's not a bad line here though, because it gives you the inside for no name and you get a good exit, because the racing line moves to the outside on the exit. And up ahead, Whack with another half-second penalty. Probably going to cost him 1, maybe 2 positions, because Jack is already right onto the back of Jack. Evening, Jack. You had a good race so far. Great sprint race. And he's going around the outside of Astro. He's trying. Just about to the inside. Trying to squeeze his way through, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that done. No, he's not. Drops back into 9. But he's definitely close enough to benefit from Wax penalty. I think that was Pyro behind him as well with a half-second. Yeah, it is. That's going to cost him a few. Ooh, Whack up to a second now. That's definitely going to cost him those positions. Probably going to cost him even more than those two. Ooh, Jack. I think currently in the boot of a car. Yeah. Pretty much. Sorry, it just threw me for a loop there. Wow. Wow. You're in the boot of a car. Okay. I hope it's comfortable in there. For whatever reason you're in it. Tin now takes the fast lap, immediately taken by X9G. So Whack down to 11th, Pyro down to 13th after all that. He was trying to recover a move on Higgsy. Can Higgsy get this move done around the outside? Yes. Didn't look like Pyro... Oh, can he? Didn't actually look like Pyro got a great exit, but he's actually still alongside. Didn't get a better exit. Equal exit, though. And these two are going to try and go side by side, and yet Pyro just carries too much speed. Ooh, is that did he manage to keep it on track? No, he didn't. That's another 1 second penalty for Pyro. Has Watt got another one yet? No, he's okay for now. X9G trying to go around Tin, but Tin covering off the inside. Not really any issues. Definitely seem like X9G's got the pace though. Primecore 32.9, so Primecore's really closing into the back of this group. And Primecore was actually the furthest one off the back, so he's got the most time to make up, but he's closing in pretty quick. As we've got a big train here from... Oh, this is everybody. So everyone's closing up. So Gilles just ahead of Marty still, Asador in third, Scotty's still in fourth, ahead of Harry in fifth. But these front five have dropped back slightly towards the rest of the pack, because they're basically all together now. And you can see how dry it's getting. It's almost getting down to a third. But we know we're expecting more heavy rain to come. So I don't think anybody's going to be pitting in for intermediates or taking a gamble like that. Yeah, 10th, 4.2 seconds off the lead. Honestly, that might be now, or pretty close to now. Because you might be even closer than that, to be honest. Harry, I think Harry's just served a big penalty there. He's lost three positions. And we've got Jack really close onto the back of Astro again. Super late on the brakes. But we've seen that Ferrari be super good on the brakes. Oh, that was Tin going super deep. Way too deep. Doesn't get reset though. Ooh, Scotty's bailing in. Okay, so maybe somebody is going to go for that gamble. Or he knows that the rain is coming and wants to be on fresh, wet tyres. And drivers are cooling the tyres down now. The wets will go off pretty quickly if it actually gets even remotely dry. So Jack managed to get that position up into fifth. Scotty's bailed into the pits. Ross up in fourth, now coming under pressure from Jack. Marty's actually been overtaken by Asador for P2. Which he did unfortunately miss. You can see Ross, everybody basically... I think the Ross the one dictating that, wanting to cool the tyres, everybody else following the slipstream. Obviously cooling the tyres will help as well. And we're just sticking on board with Jack because he definitely looks like the most likely to get a move done. Got some side-by-side in the background. I think that is Whack and Harry going side-by-side. It is. Harry to the inside on the drier part of the track. But Whack managed to hold it around the outside still. And Ross still trying to go offline to cool these tyres down. Obviously wanting to nurse them, because if it does start raining heavier and he wants to stay out longer, he's going to need the tyres to be still working. It definitely looks wetter now than it was at the end of the last lap, so the rain is coming now. Let's have a quick look at what Scotty came out. Oh, he didn't change tyres. He just wanted some clean air, but he's got a second penalty. That is going to cost him quite a bit. If he's trying to go for an undercut, obviously depends when these guys are going to pit in. Ross's tyres are looking a lot worse than... Well, Jack's are pretty similar, but the front three tyres are in really good condition. So they've managed to keep them a lot cooler through this little dry spell in the race, I think. It's probably what's caused most of that. Because it's hard to really properly cook tyres in the wet. Ooh, Jack getting the cut back. I think that was Watt coming in the background. Just stick with this, see if Jack goes for the move. Getting forced to the outside again. We've seen the Ferrari super late on the brakes. Can definitely manage it. Can he go all the way around the outside? Not quite. Ross gets just enough ahead to squeeze off the exit. But he doesn't get a good exit, and that is Jack through. Gets the... I'm not even sure it was a cutback. Maybe Josh just had a slide out of that corner. Ooh, that looked close from Jack getting a penalty and goes wide there. That might allow Ross through and get him a penalty. No, okay, actually doesn't. Astro got a 2.5 second penalty though. That is a big penalty. Maybe he cut the inside and then went off on the outside to get that. And we've got Harry in 8th. Going to be disappointed to be back behind his title rival again. Higgsy in 9th. Tin still in 10th. A couple of people have pitted though, so this is sort of net P12. Then we've got Fossey in 11th. And these drivers at the back have cooked their tyres a lot more. So I think that's kind of proving the track is a lot drier for the cars behind, which is why they closed up so much. Okay, and Wack, he's got a half-second penalty. He did put on fresh tyres though. They are definitely fresh, wet tyres. He goes a little bit deep there. Yeah, and we're almost back up to 2/3 on the water gauge, so we're definitely in this next patch of really heavy rain. And Gilles still holding on to the lead. Being super consistent, he was doing super consistent 37s, then obviously dropped to low 30s when the track was drying out a bit, but we are back into full wet conditions and then some. So Ross back up into 4th, X9G with a 1 second penalty. That's probably going to cost him 3, maybe 4 positions. Yeah, that's cost him 3, 4 now. And there's the 5th one, like Fossey going around the outside. Yeah, Fossey managed to get that move done. Ooh, that was Harry super deep on the brakes. Ooh, just manages to miss his teammate and decides he's pitting in. Is he going to put on a fresh set of tyres? That is the question, because his tyres didn't actually look that bad considering. X9G trying to get this position back on Fossey. Looks like he's got it done. Around the outside. Gets a decent exit. Tin now up into 7th. Did anybody else come into the pits? Astro followed him in, but nobody from ahead of... Actually, Astro was ahead of Tin, so that has gained him a position. But Tin back up into 7th. After his little adventure at the final chicane. And Fossey getting a way better run through Rouge and Radion. Gets back past X9G. Going to get given the outside here. Ooh, but he goes onto the curb. That can sometimes really hinder the braking. Ooh, that might have been a little bit of a pushing out of the way there. As we've got Jack. Jack just ahead has made a mistake. He loses the position to Higgsy, but he doesn't lose any more than that. But Tin's kind of come off a lot worse in that down into 9th. And then Pyro just on the back of this group in 10th. Prime Call probably going to want to get past Henners pretty quickly. He's burning up his tyres a lot, but I think he's had the dry conditions for longer, which is why that's happening. So he might be struggling now because he was setting fastest laps for a large period of this race. But basically the first half, but all the race prior to this, he's been setting the fastest lap. Oh, and I think that was Fossey recovering from some sort of spin. He was going really slow on the exit there. Has a slide. Ooh, to take avoiding action. I want to have a look at that from just the chase cam. Got those super close to collecting a couple of people there. Has a massive slide. Just misses his braking zone a little bit. Tiniest bit of contact with Jack, but managed to somehow avoid everyone. Doesn't even get damage. Yeah, nobody managed to get damage in that, so impressive from Fossey to avoid everyone. Loses a couple of positions, but nobody else really lost out. Tin lost a little bit of time, didn't lose any positions though. But he is back on the back of X9G. And gets a good run. Mazda straight line speed still coming in clutch. Even in the wet. Keeps him nicely on the track. X9G slightly to the inside. Is he going to dive down this side for the move? No. We're actually maybe going to get overtaken by Pyro trying to go around the outside. And he bails out to go into the pits. And we had Prime, Carl and Hennes going side by side. Can Prime get the switch back? He can, he's alongside. Got the 2020 versus the 2016 AMG. And I think Hennes might have backed out of that one. Let's give Prime Call the position. So let's see, has anybody gambled for anything other than wet tyres? No. Astro and Wack having a nice little battle at the back. This is going to be around the top 10. Around the bottom end of the top 10 is Wack has a slide. Astro has a slide as well though, he's not going to be able to gain anything out of that. So Harry's the first car that's pitted. Also didn't change tyres, got a lot less fuel than Scotty does. Yeah, you can see these guys, well X9AG's had a few problems in the last few laps. Or a few slow laps, so 39 on the last lap, on lap 7 even. So he'd have probably come out around Harry. Actually, that may be too far. That might be too far. But this undercut looks like it might be working for Harry. So let's have a look up at the lead. We've got Giles, who's actually managed to pull a bit of a gap now at the front over Asseldor. Up in second, holding it on the head of Ross, who's managed to get into third. So maybe Ross is liking these proper wet conditions compared to the drying conditions. Marty's down into fourth now. Does actually have better tyres still, and better tyres than Jack, who's up into fifth. But whoa, big slides there from Pyro and from Fossey. Yeah, I think that might come back to bite them at the end of the race, potentially, depending on how much it dries out in this one. Because I put on fresh tyres and my tyres were basically completely dead across the line. So he's super close. Pyro having another big slide. Not going to come under pressure from Fossey though because of the half-second penalty. Tim looks like he's making good progress towards this group. So pretty happy at the moment to probably just continue running while things are going well. Jack, kind of close to getting track limits, but he was just about okay. Nobody looking like they're going for a move. Jack has bailed into the pits though. And Higgsy coming in the background. I think Fossey was that following him in? No, it's Prime Call following him in. So these drivers deciding it's time to come in for some tyres. It's probably a bit early to be going on to intermediates. So they might just be going for a new set of wets, or they could stay on the same tyres. Also an option. Marty's actually managed to get that third position back. So he's just get a better exit. Definitely gets a better exit out of the last corner, puts him right onto the back of Ross. Then just goes to the inside. Ross not really bothered about defending. Or maybe thinks he can make the outside work. Oh, but goes super deep on the brakes. He's definitely going to lose that position, and Ross down to fourth. So Marty back up into P3. Oh, and it's super wet now. So maybe this is the time to come in for fresh set of wets. I was talking about that heavy rain. It's now properly wet. Getting some of the dark blue on the water gauge. Let's go and find our groups that have pitted. So, Harry is currently going to be the leader of the guys that have pitted. Then ahead of Scotty, X9AG. Jack is just going to come out ahead of Wack. Wack's going to have some more speed. So he doesn't look like he's quite close. No, he's not probably not going to be close enough to close in and go for a move. Although, interestingly, Jack didn't change tyres. That is a bold call in the Ferrari. Because if your rears go in this one, you have zero hope of saving it. Even in the dry, it's extremely hard. In the wet, if he runs out of rear tyres, and he's sliding a lot, he's really gambling on it not drying out too much. Yes, because Scotty didn't. Harry definitely hasn't. X9AG definitely hasn't. Yeah. Astro looked like Astro did as well, so Wack is the highest driver who did change tyres. then Astro, Higgsy and Prime Call have all changed tyres as well. So, Wack has essentially given up, I think it's 4 to 5 seconds around that for tyre change, not 100% sure, but he's given up that time to have better tyres, and that might be massive for him at the end of the race. Scotty and Harry's aren't looking too bad though, but that amount of tyre wears could actually be all the difference come the end of the race if it dries out. So we've got Fossey and Pyro having a little bit of a battle. The front 5 ahead are pretty spread out, so we're going to stick on board with this, see if Fossey can get a move done. Oh, penalties for both of them. Probably for going wide at Blanchemont there. Different levels of penalties. Fossey bails into the pits. So I think he's deciding that he maybe wants a fresh set of wets. These guys happy to continue on. Currently doing 37s, 38s, 36, 37s and 36s. What times are these guys doing? 37 on the last lap for Harry. We're going to hold with him across the line and see what he did this lap. 36.2, so he is going faster. Scotty, 36.1. X90G, 36.7. Jack, I think, just come out of the pit, so that's not going to be relevant. 35.9 and low 35s, a couple now for Wack. So Wack is taking a lot of time out of the leaders. Couple of seconds almost a lap. Astro doing the same, but he's made a mistake and drops back from Wack because they were having a little bit of a battle. Where does Fossey filter out into this? Just behind his teammate. And you can see the rain coming down, you can hear it. Not quite in the dark blue everywhere, but it is still hanging around and getting into that zone. She is actually being closed in on by Asseldor a little. Because that was quite a decent sized gap actually, a few laps ago. 37.1, 37.7, so he's taking a little bit of time out. Didn't notice him particularly close at the end of the last lap, so maybe Gilles made a mistake at the start of this one. Marty's pulled away from Ross, not much, really, second or so. And the front 5 pretty spread out. Pyro's just off the back of this group, and then Henna's a little bit further back. So the battles look like they're going to be happening here. Where have we got one coming? Wack's had good pace, it's going on fresh tyres. Consistent low 35s, but none of these guys are having a battle. Is that a couple of pies at the back? It is. Higgsy and Prime Crawl having a little bit of a battle there. Little bit of a battle, so we'll stick with this one for a little bit. Keep an eye if anybody comes into the pits from the lead group. Oh, big snap for Higgsy. I'm not sure how easy it is to get track limit penalties there, but it looks like he's got away with it. And Prime Call, we didn't see what his incident was at the start of the race, but he did drop back a lot, and he's had the pace coming forward. Currently got the fastest lap of the race. Almost getting sub 230. And the AMG is very good in the wet. It has ridiculous traction. Almost similar to like the Ferrari and the McLaren. They put the power down really well. Like a lot of the MR cars tend to do. Doesn't look like anybody's decided to come into the pits, I don't think. Can Prime Call maybe set up a switchback? He looked like he set up for a good exit. Yeah, and he looks like he did, but he's not right on the back of Higgsy still. Doesn't really look like he's able to get right onto the back of Higgsy. I think there's possibly a battle going on for the lead, and there is, although that was not a good look for Asseldor. Maybe just sent it down the inside, or maybe sent it wide. But he was super deep into here. Tries to go for the move. Yeah, it's just too late there. Gives that position back to Gilles. and drops back into second. 38.1 on the last lap, so Gilles maybe starting to struggle a little bit. He's got more fuel than Asseldor. His tyres are actually better. But he definitely looks like he's struggling. Just trying to see if there's actually any... Yeah, there is actually. If you look at the water gauge, flipping between them, Gilles is actually getting a wetter track than Asseldor. So that does kind of prove the theory. The being out front is not really where you want to be, and that's why these races tend to close up. You've got cars moving the water, which is realistic. Cars would move the water to a degree. And has White got enough fuel to go for another lap or not? He's lost a lot of time in that section. And it wasn't really from the mistake, it was the sector after. He did go off track, so dirty tyres is still a problem in wet conditions. Marty, that was maybe a penalty. No, didn't get a penalty. Okay, he was just okay. Looked like he'd just gone off track. Who's coming in? Okay, Asseldor is in, Marty is in. Ross going around, he's got lots of fuel. Tin's coming in as well. Tin might have had enough for another lap. Yeah, Tin definitely should have. I think the other drivers didn't really have any choice. Henners is doing ridiculous fuel saving. So I think he's definitely trying to hold out and maybe go to intermediates or dry tyres, would be my guess. It's a bit of a risk. You don't know it's going to dry. GTR 1-2. First time ever in Tier 2 this season. I'd probably put money on that. Both got lots of fuel left. Well, we are just over 10. I think this is still going to be their pit lap, though. Yeah, Gilles down to 10%. Ross not far behind. And yeah, Heinz is still chilling on 25%. Maybe he's just doing a lot of short shifting to drive the car, but... No, he's definitely fuel saving. He's definitely trying to fuel save for something. And obviously the drivers do get a radar. We can't see it, but they do have a small idea for like the next lap, maybe 2 laps. Well, they can see further than that. It's just you have to kind of guess when you're on the edge of the map. He must be waiting for something, but he's saving a lot of fuel. There's no way he can go to the end, surely. And even if he did, he's going to have dropped to the back of this pack by the time we actually get there. X9G gets this moved on super easily. Because Henners is definitely on a lower fuel map. Like 100%. It's not just a short shifting. So Harry is the lead of the guys that's pitted. Jackie's going to get this moved on ahead, is not surprising. Wacky's the first car that's got new tyres. And given where Asseldor wants to try no stop in Tier 1, but talked him out of it, probably a good idea. Because I really don't think it was going to work. I mean, in the Ferrari of all cars, GTR maybe, Lexus maybe, but even that's stretching it insanely thin. I think White getting surprised there from Henners, just going so slow on the straights. Ooh, Ross has actually saved enough to go for an extra lap. Okay, so I reckon Ross is coming in for intermediates. Assuming he's saving fuel, which it doesn't really look like he is. This will be interesting. But Asseldor, who was not far behind Gilles, has come out in essentially net P6 or 7? Be net P6 because he's going to get ahead of Henners. Where is Gilles? Just coming out of the pits now, so he's lost that position. Ooh, he's lost a lot of positions there. He saved a lot in the first stint, only needed 0.7 laps to get the extra. fair enough. It's quite easy to save, especially in the GTR. And we know you're going to come out towards the back end of the top 10, but if you go on intermediates, that could be almost like 4 or 5 seconds of lap time once it gets dry enough. Even more than that, because the inters won't die as quick either if it dries out completely. We've only got 4 laps though, and this is still extremely wet. So I think this is the net fight for the lead. Harry is going to be the leader, ahead of X9G and then ahead of Jack. Going to be the current podium. But Wacky's super close and on a lot fresher tyres. Hennes is still holding on in 7th. 4 laps on 20% fuel. I mean, he's definitely in a lower fuel map. So maybe he can just about manage the no-stop. But I really don't think it's going to work. And we've got Astro up to 8th. Marty's down to 9th after circulating at the front for a long time. He didn't change tyres, interestingly. Shields did. Scotty's had some kind of absolute mare. 12 seconds lost on lap 12. Or 10 seconds. Yeah, he's either going for the no-stop or he's waiting to pit for softs until it's dry, but I'm not convinced it's going to dry up fast enough. Ugh. So Ross finally into the pits. Tin did put on a fresh set of wets. Prime Cole, fresh set of wets. Everybody towards the back has put on a fresh set of wets. Pyro unfortunately down into 16th now. I think maybe just going too long on that first set of tyres. So we're going to go on board with these guys. We'll try and find Ross when he comes out, and we're going to keep an eye on what tyres he goes on to. Because it's still raining badly. Like, it's still dark blue rain just on the straights. I don't see Hennes going on to softs, because I don't think he's ever going to get there, given how late into the race it's still raining. Intermediates could work, though. Harry looked like he got a decent exit. X9G still super close. Jack not really on the back, quite on the back. Harry has the better tyres than X9G and Jack. Doesn't look like he's going for me, so let's go and find Ross. Where did he come out? He came out in 12th on the intermediates, right, so that does make sense. And on this straight now, as he just moved off the line, but the racing line is intermediate conditions. Cannot afford to be losing a place though. So he's got 3, 15, 17, 18, 4 laps. And he's not far off the lead, really. Certainly not far away from people to make progress on. Because we are getting, this is basically the exact point, intermediates will be the faster tyre. It's not just you can go this fast on intermediates, but it's harder. The intermediates should be faster right now. And it should get drier towards the end of the race. Header's still staying out. There's no way you can go to the end. Just looking at how much that fuel's come down. I reckon that's come down 8%-ish in a lap and a half. Approaching 2 laps. So he's going to have to do some even more extreme fuel saving if he wants to try and actually get to the end. But he's doing a great job of holding everybody up who's trying to come through. And Ross is going to need to be a little bit careful going over the curbs, maybe into any of the gullies or anything. Because if you hit a big puddle of water, the intermediates will aquaplane a lot more significantly than the wet tyres will. Henner's going wide. Yeah, and he's hit 10%. There's no way you can do 3 laps on 10% of fuel. Maybe, I mean, it's drying up quick. Maybe he is going to go on softs. I don't think it's going to work, but I think he might go on to softs. But Ross couldn't get the move done on Tin. Luckily, though, he doesn't manage to lose the position to Prime Call, so he's still okay. And it looks like he's definitely drying out quick. This advantage is going to come back to Ross extremely quickly, as we've had a fight for the lead. Let's go back here. So, a little bit of a love tap there. Oh, the back of Harry. Wack looks like he's managed to get past Jack, although they're still going side by side. X9G sends it to the outside. Can he get the switch back? Looks like he gets a good exit. Pulling alongside. Gets ahead. Is Harry having to do some fuel saving maybe? They're on the same fuel, so maybe not. We've seen the Ferrari have like ridiculously less fuel at some races. But given they're on the same, I can't see him doing any more extreme fuel saving than anybody else. X9G still in the lead, got the inside line. Harry's just got the overspeed to slightly get ahead. And so a lot later on the brakes. Managed to get the move done. Is Jack going to try and follow him through? He is, but he makes a bit of contact with X9G. That almost pushes him into going for the move on Harry. But Jack makes a small mistake. Just don't spin it, and you'll be okay. Just one position, didn't get any damage. Slightly dirty tyres, which is going to be more of a problem now it's drying out. Because those tyres are going to go off quick when it gets down to a third. Astro didn't change tyres either. Astro did, although Wack's still the highest driver who did change tyres. Let's see, has Ross made any progress? No, he's trying. Looks like he got that done on the inside of tin. No issues with that on the intermediate tyres. And yeah, we're almost down to slick territory now. I wouldn't be risking it, but I feel like Henner's is going to be. And I just definitely don't think it's going to work. But we've got Harry out front now, friend of X9G and Wack. I mean, if I was betting, I'd be putting money on Wack right now. His tyres are so much better. I think the two in front, the tyres are just going to go off before the end of the race. Still 2 laps to go, and they are long laps. Probably going to be sub 2 minute 30 now, but still 5 minutes of driving pretty much. Jack's still holding on to fourth, but he's honestly even worse than... They're a lot worse than his teammates. They're about the same still as X9G's. There's Asseldor and Astro having a battle in the background again. This is another one. Astro took fresh tyres. And he's already moving offline to cool them down, which I think is a smart decision. It is early, but you definitely want to be keeping them cool. It looks like he's managed to get that move done to the inside. And the Audi is quick on the straights, we know that. And we know their Beetle not so much. But actually Asseldor's managed to hold it there. I think just having to back out. Probably a smart decision. Was that a corner cut from Astro? No, looks like he's okay. We've got potentially almost 3 wide into the chicane. Wack managing to get up into P2. Manages to hold it in P2. Let's go and check Henner's intermediates. You saved all that fuel to try and go to intermediates. That is an interesting strategy call. And one I would not have predicted. Like, it's dry weather. Look at the water gauge. You could have gone on softs. I know it's risky, but still. If you would have come on into, you should have done that laps ago. When Ross did, who's now up into 9th, having got past Martin, is about to go past Scotty as well, although his tyres are absolutely cooking as well. Although they're not as bad as that. Coming up to his teammate, yeah, they're already better. His intermediates are still hanging on better than the wet tyres on his teammate. Although his teammate's done an extra lap, so they're not that different. Is he going to let his teammate go? Yep. Makes sense. Obviously knows he's on intermediates, no point in fighting him. So Astro has managed to get this position, but they've got one more lap to go on these tyres. Wack has managed to make his way into the lead. So we'll go back and catch this one. Oh, it was a long time ago. So this is basically where we left it. We just missed it. So we know Wack's got way better tyres. His tyres are easily going to make the end of the race. Without question. Harry goes wide and yeah, just doesn't have the grip anymore to be doing that, even though it's the wet part of the track. That allows Wack through pretty easily. And XIG's tyres fairly similar. Jack's in a similar condition. Astro's slightly better. They should make the end of the race still. Ross, unsurprisingly, with the fastest lap now, 28.7. Ooh, Jack going wide. I don't know if that's some way you can pick up a penalty either. Super slippery out there though. I wouldn't want to be out there. And Jack's the one that's sliding the most on the rear. It certainly looks like it. Now if Watt just keeps this sensible, he should be able to hold this pretty easily. Ooh, is that... Please don't be a penalty for that. It was close. It was right on the edge of the curb. Looks okay. Oh, did he get any contact maybe? Oh, was there any contact there? Or did he just go deep on the brakes? Looked like he just goes deep on the brakes. Yep, just overshoots the corner a little bit, goes deep on the brakes. Has to try and get over that sausage curb. Loses that position to Harry. So all he did have to do was play sensible. But now he's going to have to get this moved on again. Yeah, I'm not sure what the reset boundary is for it. I know if you try and cut it like a sensible person would to rejoin safely, you get reset 100%. Wack gets a good run through Eau Rouge. Not surprising, he had such a better exit. Not really a competition. Yeah, they really are. So Wack into the lead. X&AG, fairly similar types to Astro, but Astro gets a 1 second penalty. Jack is 100% going to be struggling by the end of the race. This is where Ross should be gaining chunks of time on these drivers because they're all going to be struggling with the wet tyres to the end of the race. Scotty in particular. Marty with a half-second penalty. Prime call. Because all these drivers at the back took new tyres. I'm pretty sure. So Wack, they still want to go and cool these tyres. It's not a guarantee they make it in great shape round to the end, because it is a dry track now. We're under a third. Ooh, and X&AG's is super close. X&AG's and Jax is already gone. It's going to be really costly. Ross going to get past easily. Yeah, no problem there at all for Ross up into the top 5. The Shield's going for the move on Asador. He did come in a lap later. Jack's definitely going to come under threat a lot in the last few laps. Astro's just holding on. X&AG's have just died. He cannot afford to spin. His title rival's up in P2. Wack should easily have this one now as long as he doesn't get a penalty or make the same mistake as last lap into the chicane. Ross is probably going to get a podium. Nice move there. Sends it around the outside. Commits. Ooh, and Astro. Tyres aren't completely dead, but they're not good. Harry might be okay from Ross. Might be. We'll go on board with Wack. Showed the pace that we kind of knew he had, even though he didn't qualify well. Had a good sprint race, had a great feature race to get into P1. Harry in second, Ross does get third. Astro 4, Shields gets X&AG, but crucially X&AG holds on to 5th, just ahead of Jack, Marty, Tin. Did Tin drop down a few positions at the end there? Astro definitely did, yeah, look at the front tyres, completely dead. Fossey just about making it, Prime Call fronts left the building. Both the M6's tyres completely gone. Pyro had one dead tyre at the rear, and he changed tyres as well. Actually, did he change tyres? I'm pretty sure he changed tyres. Must have done a lot of sliding in the last couple of laps. And Henner's with the bizarre strategy of the evening. I'd love to explain the reasoning, because I would have 100% gone on soft tyres for the end if he'd gone that long. But yeah, interesting race. Very interesting. What gets his first win of the season. Not going to move him up to a point where he's challenging in the table. Let's find it tier 2. Here we go. How are we looking? No, that's tier 1. Don't want that. Go away. Okay, so X9G still the leader of the championship. 27-point gap back to Harry. That is a big gap. As bigger than I thought it was. Maybe it was bigger after the last round. Because Harry didn't have a good one at Monza, I don't think. So yeah, 27 points, 43 points on offer for the final round. At Trial Mountain, though, not great for MR cars. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, a big mistake, he's probably okay. Then we've got Tin in third on 36 back from the lead. Jack, 38 back from the lead. And Ross is the first driver who's out of the championship fight. But he's up in fifth, which is kind of insane. I mean, he had a really good round this week. And he had a good one at Sardinia as well. But yeah, fifth in the championship is honestly great from Ross. We've seen him qualify pretty low down, but his actual results in the race have been pretty good all round, to be honest. A couple of bad ones. Actually, there wasn't Sardinia, it was Monza, I think. Yeah, it was Monza where he had a decent race. Sardinia was where it went got messed up in the first lap. Asseldorp tops into sixth, not far back. The mid-pack are all pretty close. And Ferrari and the constructors have got a 43 point lead. That's going to be hard to overcome. It's actually ahead of Team Mazda, who's just ahead of Team GTR. So Ross and Gilles have been pretty consistent to keep themselves in the constructors fight. But yeah, they're not quite wrapped up, but it's going to be tricky to make any progress from there. Let's go and have a quick check. Was there any steward submissions for tier 2 from this one? There were a couple. Only 2 though. Reporting Jack. Oh, there's 1. So there's 1 on Jack. Don't think we quite caught that one. So yeah, we'll have to, next week at Trial Mountain. Comms might be out on Thursday instead of Friday because we do have the Champions Cup draft next week on Friday. So make sure you tune in for both of them. See who wraps up the title. X9G in the drivers, Ferrari in the constructors. Hope you enjoyed this very chaotic round. See you guys next week.